Greetings, everybody. Needle the Mystic here, and happy SINDAY. Tonight, we got a very good show for you. We're going to be talking about flat Earth or round Earth. What do you think? I would love to hear some feedback. So whether you're here live or on the replay, leave us some comments and let us know what you think. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to take the show in a direction that most people don't. Most flat Earth shows aren't going to show you what I'm about to show you tonight. So, Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and you've been holding out on me on that secret, that's for sure.
Well,
So,
not really. Not really. Like, if you guys watched last week's show, which you should have, I've noticed there wasn't as many views as it normally is. We had a great show, a great guest, and there was a lot of good stuff in that show. It was actually a really fun show to do. So I highly recommend for you guys to watch last week's show, okay, about alien abduction. There's some stories in there that haven't been told before. And so, anyways, I touched a little bit about it in that show. And I have actually, I think in the past as well, alluded to it as well in different shows. So if you've been watching us for a long time, you may have heard some of this before. And yeah, so welcome. I see some people in here I haven't seen in a while. Welcome, guys. Come on in. They're on YouTube. It looks like most people are on YouTube. I'm assuming I'm going live on Facebook. Let me just take a look-see over there. And I'm not even sure if we are now. I don't see any movement, but I don't know until afterwards. It's so weird. The last couple of shows we did, not a hitch with the Facebook nor the Kick. We went live on Kick last time as well. And, and then sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I don't know exactly what that's all about, but we'll take it when we get it, I guess. So your best bet is to definitely come over to YouTube and watch it there because, I invite people. I got the invite. I do all the things I'm supposed to do, and then it just doesn't go live. So, what do you do? So anyways, here we are. So yeah, just come on over. If you're sitting over on either of the other two platforms, just come on over to the YouTube, which is at Nina the Mystic 68, the actual handle name. There's always numbers and stuff behind it. And so it might be a hard time finding channels sometimes because of that. So just tack on that 68. Same with the Facebook page, as well as the Instagram is Nina the Mystic 68, as well as my email is also Nina the Mystic 68. So that should make it fairly easy, I would think, because it's kind of consistent throughout all the platforms there. So, yeah. Welcome, everybody. So this is sort of the one debate that, has been going on forever. I remember when I was in the Christian community, of course, I was heavily in the end times community and, all of us, anything fringe, that's right up my alley, always has been. So even as a Christian, so of course, dove down into that flat earth thing, and I watched all the videos. I've seen them all, Flat Earth Dave, and he's got a huge channel, and it's all these things. And I'm watching, I'm like, I'm no mathematician, I'm no scientist, I don't know, but whatever they're presenting, it sounds legit to me, the measurements and with the seeing the mirage, is it a mirage, or all of that stuff, right? I'm sure you guys have seen all this. I don't want to regurgitate the same stuff that's out there, try and bring something new to the table here. But yeah, I was like, well, I don't know, I was watching, I was paying attention, and to me it looked pretty legit, yeah.
So the question is, Nina, are you a flat earther or are you a round earther?
I'm both. So if you read the description, you would know. And if something like, I don't know if Bonnie's here or whoever's here, but some people know that I've answered that before, and it is both. That is the actual answer to it. And I'll explain to you why I think it is. Now, this is obviously a disclaimer here. This is my own opinions here. You know what I mean? And obviously there is no real facts. There's no real receipts to show because I haven't been up there taking pictures to prove either or, So this is definitely, my opinion and my opinion only, and whatever you say, that's your opinion, obviously. And I do have disclaimers in the intro as well as down below in the description. I do have more disclaimers there as well if YouTube needs it. You know what I mean? But from my understanding, I'm going to show you some maps here, and this is kind of where I'm getting it from, essentially. But I just wanted to go back a little bit. What threw me off back in the Christian community, I was, dove down the whole flat Earth thing, studying it, I was paying attention or whatever, and then they started getting into the big tree stumps and everything. I don't know if you got that far down into that rabbit hole. Once they started with the trees, and I'm like, you know what, that's it. I gotta get out of here. And that was part of why I got out of Christianity. Honestly, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just getting too ridiculous, So I got out of that whole thing. But like I said, I mean, I've seen them do the science. They got the things out, and all. It does look legit. And I think so. Who we got? We got Jim Gerard's there. All kinds of people are going to come in here. This is going to be a trigger show for sure. So disclaimer on that too. If you are easily triggered, this is, you're probably going to get triggered here. So just be prepared for that and just calm down. Okay. Let's see. What is he saying here? It's 2D, it's flat, and it's 3D, it's round. Okay, that's one opinion. That's not quite where I'm going with it, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think. I'm sure.
Well, when you look at the Earth, 2D is flat, like a map. You look at the map, the world map that they have, that's 2D. If you have a globe, that would be 3D. I mean, right. So it varies on your perspective and your opinion or what you're looking at. Right. I think that's what people get. Like the United Nations map of the world is a big round flat spot, and yet if you pick up a globe, it's round and you have to spin it. So, so if you go into any,
yeah, so, it is kind of interesting that we used to believe that it was flat up until a certain age. Now, I didn't go and bring a bunch of receipts because it takes up too much time to go and get this, that, and the other thing.
Actually, it started out as round, and then it turned flat, and then it became round again, as Galileo, wanted to prove that there was other planets, and we were all revolved around the sun, and it was basically, of course, back to your Christianity there.
So it was them that okay.
They came up with this simulation of the world must be flat, and that anything else, if the world doesn't, everything revolves around us, and yada yada yada. And Galileo said, "Hey, come look at my telescope," right. And they did, but they went like this. I can't see anything.
Right.
They covered their eyes.
Well, I mean, how ridiculous. Yeah, I see that it's in the scripture, and that's a problem with the Christianity. Like, once you say that you are and you're committed to something, then you have to defend it with everything you have. You know what I mean? And so this is where they get into trouble, and where it does say in there, they talk about the 4 pillars, the 4 corners, that kind of thing, right? But once you look at it, and we're going to look at some maps here now, let's see if maybe they're both right. You know what I mean? So we might as well just dive into it here. Let's see, this one here is that one there. So here's one, right? So there's a few of these, and I found them on Etsy because you can actually buy these maps. Trying some of the old maps. They got all kinds of maps over on Etsy here. But I find these ones, I got 2 of them that I want to show to you. This is one, okay? And so with everything else that I've studied, you talk about Anunnaki, we're talking, all this kind of stuff, right? There's so much knowledge now that I didn't have then to work with as well. And so we know that Antarctica, we've talked about that. We're not allowed to go. So if you watch last week's show, like I said, we talked a lot about this stuff actually in there. Antarctica, we're not allowed to go there. We're not to fly over it. Same with the Grand Canyon. There's a few places on this planet I shouldn't say that, on this planet, on this Earth that we know as Earth, okay, that we're not allowed to go there. We're not allowed to fly over. We're not allowed to visit there. We're not allowed to ask any questions. It's hush hush, okay? So my theory is, okay, and this is just my theory alone here, is that we are actually surrounded by a whole ice wall. It's not just a part of an ice wall. The whole, so all of this in here is what we know of as the Earth. Okay, you got Australia up in here. Let's see if there we go. You got Australia up in there, and America's down there. Like, this is all we know. That is the world. Okay. And Antarctica and a few other places. It looks like 4 different places here on this map, I would say, would be entrance and exits. Antarctica, definitely one of them. Where the other ones are, I'm not sure. I'm not heavily invested in this, okay, because it doesn't really, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We're stuck here regardless. You know what I mean? But it is kind of nice to know what's going on. And so I think we're inside of here. It's like we said before, it's like we're penned in. It's kind of like, you know, a farmer pens in its cattle and its sheep, you know, somewhere safe, somewhere where they can't escape. You know what I mean? And so I think this is where we all are, penned in right in here. Now, on the outside of that, there's a whole other thing here. Right? And then, and according to this, outside of that again, there's a whole nother thing out there. There might be numerous ice walls around and around, and depending on which level you are. Now, interesting. Asgard, Jotunheimer. I saw, you know, like maybe, you know, some of these old Vanheim, the old mythologies, maybe they were onto something. Maybe they were trying to tell us something. We just took it as a myth, as a fable, as a story. You know what I mean? But there might be a whole lot more to this than what we realize. Because, you know, where did they come up with this stuff? You know, and then you can't really read too well here, but you'll see some familiar names. You know what I mean? As to what this is. Galarnia, I don't know. I've never heard of that before. And I can't really read. Is it Horus? Does it say Horus there? I can't read it, unfortunately, and I can't get it any closer. But that would be another mythology again. Amun-Ra, you know, that's part of the whole Christian thing. You know what I mean? Like, so this is what I think is happening. And so, like last week, we talked about interdimensional. Okay, so maybe beings aren't coming from space. They're here already, but they're on the other side of the ice wall. So they can just easily disappear. I bet you under the water, because not all, but most of the UFO sightings we see are coming in and out of the water. Why is that? Why are they going in and out of the water? What's under there? Now, there could be a whole civilization under there, or is there a portal underneath the water that will take you out of the ice wall and into the other section, you see? And I think that's what's going on. We're not coming from space. Not to say that there isn't ETs out there, that there isn't other planets and there's all of that stuff happening. I'm sure there is. But I'm also sure that they're not really that interested in us. I really don't think so. We're so far behind, and numerous reasons why. I think it's all happening right here on this earth. And so the whole earth itself is round. Okay, it's one giant planet, way, way bigger than we ever thought. But this area right here that we're on, this area is where we're measuring, trying to figure out, is this round or is this flat or what is this? Well, if you're just measuring this area here, which is what we know as to be Earth, it probably appears flat because you haven't gotten to the curve yet. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you feel about this? I can't see anybody in the thing right now. I'm gonna go over there. And, what's everybody saying?
It sounds all great and good, but how come then are we the center? And why are we in the center? See, that's the other thing.
We're penned in. Again, we're penned in the center.
Yeah, is that I mean, and then who lives on the other sides of all of that? And why aren't they just coming in and taking over?
They haven't taken over because we are essentially a source of food for them. We are a workforce. Like when we're giving offerings to the gods, what do you think is happening here? We're giving them their best fruits, our best crops, our best animals, right? Not the sick, not the one that's almost dying. No. They want, the fattest, the smartest, the best, right? And so we're literally giving them food.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So
Could be.
these Anunnakis that made us, they might still be here. They might still be in one of these, behind one of these ice walls here. They might still be the ones who are coming in pretending to be ET, right? Interdimensional beings. So they're just coming in and out of the ice wall. They're not coming from space. They're coming, you know what I mean? Because to me, it just makes sense because of the whole in and out of the water. Why are they always coming in and out of the water, out of the ocean? You know what I mean? Like, what's up with that? They're not going up. You don't see them go up into the sky, other than the military is flying around trying to, you know what I mean? To me, with all the evidence I'm seeing, this just makes more sense to me. You know? So I was going to see what people are saying here. Looks like we got a new person here. The tabernacle. It's a rectangular curve enclosing for the circle of the earth, and it's rainbow. Okay. Some interesting theories there. Yeah.
Earth could be a cube. No?
I don't think so. I think it is, the ice wall is round. I do believe that that's round. Yeah, I don't know why. And I don't know how this all, I don't have all the answers. But to me, when I'm looking at this and just with all the other theories that I've, been pondering on, it just makes more sense. That they're portaling in out of here from the other side of the ice wall, and they might still be there. And so when we're giving offerings, we don't really do that as much now, though, do we? As we used to, right? We used to be heavily, every crop, we would give to the gods, you know what I mean? And so now maybe we still are by basically giving the church 10%. Maybe we are by our loosh harvesting us as a battery. There's numerous other ways, right?
Yeah,
and,
numerous other ways.
Sorry?
I said numerous other ways, or, because we produce so much. Would you know that 10 tons of corn have disappeared? No. Would you notice if one of those big ships sailed off full of whatever and disappeared? No.
Yeah.
Do you know when you work and you're building a product, do you know where that product goes? They say, well, this product is for this, and you're building a car, and this car goes to a salesman somewhere, but you don't really know.
And also there has been, because I was studying this a few years back, all this water disappearing. It'll be overnight. All of a sudden the lake is dry, and there would be sightings of things things taking water. So there has been things like that and things disappearing. Where do you think all these people are going?
Yeah.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are missing every single year. Not a single body. Where are they going?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, could it be that they're, going over there?
That's so true. I mean, they say, what is it? Is it 600,000 or 60,000? I think it's 600,000 people go missing.
Thousands of people go missing every single year. A lot of them are children.
Yeah, I looked
These
it up.
might be the offerings. You know what I mean? They're still offering, or still, you know what I mean? Like there's people, right, missing all the freaking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same
the question is how come they don't find them all?
Huh?
And the question is, they say 600,000 go missing, and they find some, but what happened to all the rest?
Well,
they just disappeared, never to be found again.
Right? There's no bodies. There would be one thing if they go missing and you find the body. Okay, we can figure out what happened. But when there's no body, and a lot of them are taken around, like the forestry places, in the forest, around the water. A lot of it is around the water. I wouldn't be surprised they just come out of the water in their ships or whatever it is and just snatch people up, when they're out hiking and stuff, which obviously that's what's happening, so there's a lot of people missing. So those are probably, we're still feeding these things, I think.
Yeah, that could be. It could be.
Yeah.
You got to
You
have
know,
some explanation for where they're all going. I
yeah,
mean, they
yeah.
can't all disappear every year. But see, again, it's just like I always say about the chickens. I got chickens. I go in there and I take one chicken.
Hmm.
The other chickens make a big squabble for a few minutes, and then they forget about the other chicken. We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the kid's missing. We search for a month, and then we say, oh, he must have died out there somewhere. Somebody abducted him. Something happened, and it's unexplainable. So we're gonna say he's dead because the
Well,
little kid
that's the
came
thing,
up.
like nature's cruel like that. Like I live right next to a forest here, and I hear it sometimes. When at nights when something gets nabbed, and it's fighting for its life, and so every night, and you notice every night all the creatures go quiet. Everybody's just sitting there all nervous now all night, waiting for morning. Because nature does what nature does, and next morning, George over here is missing, but life goes on, and they probably don't think about it too much, right? Well, that's kind of like with us as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just forget. If it's not in the news bombarding us constantly, we forget all about it. You know what I mean? And that is part of our preserve. Our to preserve our own sanity. You know what I mean? Because if we were thinking about it too much, we would go a little insane. So there's
Mhm.
all that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many things that we've discovered over the years here now that this just makes sense to me. It makes more sense than any other thing, and it also then makes it so that both of them are right. I think that the whole planet is way, way, way bigger, and I do believe it's round. I mean, there's no way that it could be any other shape because all the other planets are. You know what I mean? So that just, you know what I mean? But the area that we're in obviously is flat. It appears flat. We haven't gotten to the curve yet. And so the flat earthers are right with their mathematics and their measurements. They're right. But so are the round globe people. So you're both right. So, you know what I mean? Um, Now I discovered, I'm going to show this other map here that I discovered a very interesting thing that actually correlates with the Charlie Kirk passing that just happened here in September. So I want to show you guys that. But before we do, I just want to do a quick little break here, and we'll be right back with the Charlie Kirk clue. All right, as we do have a Black Friday right now. It looks like Robert disappeared on us. Black Friday special is still going on, guys. It's still good until Tuesday. Okay, this is a once a year, if even that. 50% off the white light the spray, which for those who don't know, it is a clearing spray. Okay, now you can use it for spiritual practices, whether you want to get rid of spirits or you want to get rid of negative energy, whatever you want to do. But it could be even as simple as going to a public place like the mall or airport or something like that, and you picking up something. You come home, you feel like crap. Maybe you're in a bad mood now. Well, this white light is going to take all of that residual energy away and just lighten the mood for you instantly. It's almost like a cheat. Instead of doing the hour meditation or all the stuff that we do that, most of us don't have time for, this is kind of like a cheat. You can break up that energy and get rid of it instantly. So if you're interested in a clearing spray, powerful one, take advantage of this. 50% off now, good until Tuesday. Okay. Now with the merch, I don't have a coupon for you, but what I am offering is, of course, a free sticker pack with every order. And if you order it now within this year, I will also include a holiday card or Christmas card. You let me know which one you want. I got both. And I will send you a Christmas card signed by me with the sticker pack, okay, as a token of my appreciation and gratitude for your support over the year or years, maybe some of you. So this is a great time to support the channel, get yourself something for half off, and support your favorite YouTubers. So yeah, go and check that out, everybody. I'm not going to go through the merch thing. You've seen it many times. The links are all over the place. Go in there at your own leisure. And yes, we got 15-ounce mugs now. I love mine. It's perfect. This is like a perfect one cupper for me. So I even got myself a single tiny little coffee maker that I can just put the cup in, and it just makes the one cup. That's it. I put the other one away, and I was like, yeah, this is all I need. So yeah, got good quality, is a good experience. You know, for those in the States, there is fast and cheap shipping and all that good stuff. I haven't had any problems with Streamlabs at all. So I urge you to go in there and check it out and see if there's something in there for you. But yes, I saw something. So this is, like I said, Etsy, right? So I found this map here. Now you got to kind of go in. It's too bad I can't get it any closer. But here again, so they're calling it Gnome Land. So this is us in here, right? So you got the ice wall, you got everything, you got straight up in there, and all that stuff up in there. Again, they have Asgard up in here. Okay. Let's see. Can I get it? No, I can't.
I think it's as big as you're going to get it.
That's as big as I'm going to get. You know what? I think it might have been the other one that I saw it. I just didn't see it. Oh, there we go. Oh, where are you? Let's go. Oh, here. This here. Valhalla. So this is way beyond, like way beyond. Like this is what? 1, 2... possibly 3. I don't know what that is exactly, but we got Valhalla over here. Now, do you remember Charlie Kirk? You know, the assassination that just happened. There was a press conference or whatever it was with Patel, who is a Indian guy, right? He's an Indian guy, so he's probably a Hindu or whatever it is that they you know, celebrate down there, which is definitely not believing in Valhalla as their heaven, right? And Charlie Kirk was a Christian. He also does not, you know, believe in Valhalla as a heaven, right? They believe in their own heaven. And so when he said in his little goodbye speech or whatever speech that was, I'll see you in Valhalla, he said towards Charlie, who's in heaven. I'll see you in Valhalla. Now, okay, Valhalla is also a code name for protective custody. So there's that. Okay, so I've had my suspicions. My theory on that is that he's still alive. Okay, and then when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? Because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people who are on live for whatever reason, but not actually on live, like Epstein. Okay, I don't believe he's dead either. I think they are beyond the ice wall. Okay, they're sitting margaritas somewhere else. Is what I'm thinking. And now that I saw that Valhalla here, I'm like, you know what? That might be where they're going, or where Charlie went. Anyways, I'll see you in Valhalla, he says. Well, that's over here.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, you know, I mean, they could, in their discoveries and stuff like that, they could have discovered this extra land and kept it. The elites kept it to themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it wasn't the elite. The elites are nobody. They were just humans. Whoever created us, right, are more intelligent beings. They're way bigger. They're smarter. They're all this kind of stuff. Whoever they are, we don't really know. The Anunnaki is just a blanket word for from heaven they came. We don't know who they are. The Anunnaki could be many different species of whatever. So we can't be too attached to the word Anunnaki. But whoever they are, whoever created us, are probably still here. They're just on the other side of the ice wall, like I said. And all these people go missing, water's going missing. Like we're it's kind of like where we are. It's like center stage. That's where they're playing all their games, right? Because that's what they're doing. They reset us every 250 to 300 years. They reset us, and so we are due for another reset. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And they're just sitting there sipping margaritas, laughing at us, you see, from the other side there. Because, nothing changes for them. They have, I can only imagine, like they probably have all kinds of different plants, all kinds of different animals. The weather might be different over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's probably so much going on over there that we have no clue about. And so this is just a game. It's just a stage. It's what we're on right now. We just don't know that we're there. It's kind of like the Truman Show. They kind of showed us in that Truman Show. They're all sitting there laughing and watching, right? So that's kind of how I'm feeling. That's what's going on here. And so Charlie played the game. He played his role, and now he's over in Valhalla, where Patel is going to meet him, apparently. I mean, why would you say that to a Christian guy? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Unless there's an actual place called Valhalla besides, the mythology one. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think of that?
Like you said, it could have been a code word too,
it is a code word. So there is that as well. But maybe there's more to these code words than what we know. Because I think a lot of these characters, that's what they are. Same with Epstein, and all of these people, they just disappear over there. We never see them again.
Yeah, so, and there's a lot more of them than we really actually know of. We just see the ones that are front and center stage, and then the other ones either die or disappear, or something happens, and it's like, wow, that's just kind of crazy that happened.
Makes you wonder if they even die at all. A
lot of them. Was it Kobe Bryant? Wasn't he like in a helicopter crash and
with his daughter?
His daughter in the fog, blah blah blah. These people that go on airplane rides and suddenly the airplane crashes and yada yada yada. You gotta kind of wonder.
Makes you wonder if they just, for their sake, I hope I'm right, because that means that they're still alive. You know what I mean? So all these people who, died terribly in accidents or whatever, they're just players who get taken out, but not taken out completely, but moved over to a different area where they're no longer a player here. You know what I mean? Like you just. So, we got to look at it that way. That's, I think, is what's going on here. So, not to say that, there isn't more, other planets, other beings, you know what I mean? But a lot of these alien, these crafts and all these things that we're seeing flying around, I think that's technology that these beings have taught us, obviously. We've gotten a lot of technology from these beings, and they're, they have reproduced them and made them here, and they're flying around and pretending. And I was watching, actually, L.A. Marzulli came out with a great video today that we're actually going to be doing a follow-up video on. But he mentioned in there, I forgot where I was going with that now. I can't remember. That thought just went now. But, what was it?
I don't know. I didn't see the show, and you didn't tell me about.
I know. Yeah, I already written notes for Royale. Yeah, he's coming back into the or that movement is coming back into the forefront. We got to do a show on it. I'll talk to you about it after. Where I was going there, I completely got lost. Do we need this map anymore now?
No.
Probably not. I don't have a lot of receipts or any proof. You know what I mean? This is just my theory. This is what I think is going on. So essentially, you're both right when it comes to the flat and round. You're both right. Yeah. Oh, it's almost there. No, it's not, it's gone again now. The
Almost.
fun.
Let's keep talking. It'll come to you and you'll
It'll
go.
come later. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, put them in there now. What do you guys think of this? Does this make sense to you guys? If you're watching the replay, use the comment section down below there. To me, it just makes sense, with all the different points that we made with the missing people. It's just, oh, yes, that's what it was. Alien abduction, of course, we go back. So L.A. Marzulli is actually a Christian, heavy duty Christian. Yeah, he does believe in aliens and alien abduction and all this kind of stuff. Because there was this guy, and I don't know who it was or what his name was and whatever, but they were abducted and taken and abused, I guess. Eggs taken, sperm taken, pregnancies, and then pregnancies, all this stuff that we hear about. And he's coming out talking about it. So he's actually talked to the people who have gone through this. And my theory on that is that it's our own military that's doing that. It's not some, intelligent species from outer space doing it. It's our own military experimenting on us, just like they have been doing all along. It's just that a lot of people don't realize that. If I was going to do a show on all the nasty things that the government has done to us, do you know how many times we've been poisoned and as in experiments? You know what I mean? So just taking one or two people, it's not that big of a deal to them, right? Because they're used to doing all cities full, spraying a whole. What was it there in Boston? Was it or Oklahoma? Or one of those cities down there? They sprayed the whole city. But you guys have probably forgotten all about that now. What was it, syphilis or something rather? I can't remember what all this stuff is. But they've done so many different experiments on us, okay, because they don't care about us, essentially, right? We're just an experiment for them, right? This is just something that they made when they were drinking beer one day, and so they don't really care too much. So yeah, no, that's not aliens doing that. That is our own government who are using crafts that look very alien because it's technology that we haven't seen before. But no, that's just coming from here, our own people, I believe, with that. So, hey, Johan, yeah, you can always go back and rewatch it there. I think all the main points are already kind of out there now, so you'll have to start from the beginning, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what I think there. I don't think there is any, other than those who created us, I guess, would be the only ones we can say came here from somewhere. Because how else did we come here? You know what I mean? So, because the creation story doesn't add on. The Big Bang Theory doesn't add up at all. I mean, it just doesn't, right? So us being created in some petri dish, that kind of makes sense. That whole story, it kind of makes sense. Although, again, like I've said in many shows, I've come to the conclusion that we went through some kind of reset there at the late early 1800s, and all our material that we're going off now, whether it be in school, all our school books, all our theories and math, science, everything, it's all from the 1800s. And so we don't really know anything prior to that because they burnt it all. They put us through resets every so often, right? And we're on the verge of another one now. And so it's very interesting to see how, like, they scrubbed out the Deagle report. That's gone. They scrubbed out the Georgia Guidestones, right? Very conveniently, because they don't want that to be here once the new thing comes in place. They want us to see the evidence here later. So they're scrubbing things out in real time right now to get ready for the new reset that's coming. And I talked last night on your show, Robert, about the planes, why they're not, giving us new technology in the aviation. Is because that's all going to be gone soon. There's a whole new system coming in. We're not going to be traveling the way that we have been. It's a very dangerous way of traveling, actually. There's a lot of radiation that we're getting just from those planes. And people don't realize how many flight attendants pass away from cancer all the time. It's not a good way to do it. So anyways, that's going to be gone soon. And that's why they're not upgrading it, because they don't want to spend the money on it now, because we're so close to the new system. So, oh, that's you saying that. Yeah.
No, like you said, they sprayed bacteria in San Francisco and St. Louis in the 50s. And I says, yeah, they did a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially, but think about how many things they've done to other countries that we don't even have a clue about.
Oh,
because
orange,
they can get away with it.
Yeah, like in Vietnam, they were spraying Agent Orange or something on them. And, so apparently we've made some deal, I guess, that we're not going to be using biological weapons. But hey, what is all these viruses and stuff that's coming out? What's that? To me, that's a biological weapon. You can take out a whole country. You can take out the whole world here with just one little virus if they wanted to.
Well, you were planning on doing a show eventually about the Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, that's another show. That's right. We got to write that down. Handmaid's Tale.
But and I've been watching that show, trying to get caught up to speed. But the other day, I heard that they are making a some kind of new virus that's only going to attack newborns, babies, young children. It only attacks young children, and that's so close on the chopping block. And I can't remember which country is doing that, but I thought, oh my goodness, if that comes out, that would be, right there. People would be like, oh, you can't have children. All your children die, blah, 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 blah. And then they would be hunting these women down for the Handmaid's Tale. I thought, how ironic.
We actually already are, kind of there already. There's a lot of people who can't have kids, for various reasons. You know what I mean? Like, who knows, what happened to young women with the whole episode 5 years ago. And I don't want to say too many words here, but apparently that does affect fertility. We know that men's sperm count has gone down by, I think, 50% or something. But that is a lot to do with our diets, all the poisons that are, and everything else. So that is we're naturally declining that way anyways. And then on top of that, we choose not to have them. So we are going to, there's going to be a depopulation problem here, just as it is right now. Never mind if they introduced something else. But I mean, that would just be a suicide. I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't even say that word. I mean, that is, because
but you have to stop and think here. You're thinking on a one-dimensional in a way. It's only happening in Western advanced countries. These other countries that are third world are having 6, 7 kids, and then the ones that are here, we're governing ourselves by, not having children, using birth control, planning ahead, waiting until we're 30, 40 years old to have a child, having only one child. Then all of a sudden women wonder why they can't conceive. Well, you conceived your first child at 36, and then you're talking about having a big family, and then you can't get pregnant again. So you're on fertility drugs or whatever's, and the American people, or the Western, I shouldn't say that, the Western society is creating their own downfall by economics, by socially waiting too long. Years ago, the women would have children, right away. Ooh, we're going to get married at 20 and we're going to have a big family. Now I'm going to wait till I'm like 35 or 40 and have, get married, and I'm going to have one child.
So our priorities obviously have changed over time. So back in the day, we had as many as we possibly could, because the kids were the ones that were going to take care of you when you're old. And the chance of, your kids actually, growing up and survive was very low. So if you had 12, if you had 2 or 3 that survived, you were lucky. So, and you needed that in order to take over the farm, to take care of you. Like, it was a survival thing. Even though women knew that 50% of us are going to die during childbirth, you still went ahead and did it, because if you don't, then you're really not going to survive very long. You know what I mean? So it was a survival thing. Now, of course, we have the Western, mentality where, you have one or two, most likely guarantee that both of those kids are going to make it. So you don't really need to have 12 now in order to have two, so just from that alone, and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
If you want to, you get out of high school, you're 18 years old. Now, if you want to go and get an education, you can tack on another decade, depending on what you want to do, be a lawyer, or doctor, or anything worth of anything, tack another decade. Well, yeah, you're 30 now, at least 30 now by the time, but now you're coming out with a huge student loan. Never mind the economy that's going on today. I mean, even going back a couple of decades when you could afford a house and whatnot. But yeah, that's just the way they set it up, so.
Yeah. Well, but think about it. You're having a child at 35 or 40, and, that child you're going to be almost 60 years old, just a number of years before retirement, before that child graduates and says, hey, look over there, there's my mom and dad, and they're all gray and, with their canes, and they can't do much because, what if they go to college, then, oh, well, 10 years there, that's 30, then make you almost 70 years old by the time your child is graduating college and off to do what he wants to do. There's going to be none of this 5 generations. You know how they used to have the pictures of the 5 great-great-grandma, great-grandma, grandma, mom, and daughters.
You have to start early for that. Yeah, no, back in those days, life expectancy wasn't very long, and so as soon as you were 15, 16, you started, looking at getting married off, and started, there's no sense wasting the eggs. You might as well get going right on the beginning, because you're in your, our eggs are in our prime when we're around 22, is what I was told. 22 years old, your eggs are at its prime. After that, it just starts going downhill. By the time you're 35, you have a high risk of something happening. You know what I mean? So,
well, women who have children after 35 or so tend to have children that are have something wrong with them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a high risk. So I wouldn't advise doing that. If you really didn't want to have them young, I would say go and freeze your eggs. So that way you have fresh, new, eggs to work with. Don't wait. Yeah, don't wait. But Johan here has a point. Back in the day, it wasn't that long ago either. They used to give women this drug while they were pregnant. And all these babies were growing with all kinds of deformities and all kinds of things, and that was supposed to be for nausea. And that was at the same time as that same doctor was sitting there smoking, in the office. I remember this ashtray overflowing with butts in the doctor's office, and they used to have commercials saying that how great smoking was, and that, doctor's choice, whatever that was.
Doctors recommend Camels.
Recommended. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so you cannot trust humans. You can't trust the people that are supposed to be, in our best interest. You just can't, as we've seen over and over and over again. Never mind 5 years ago. That was a big one. I mean, if you didn't wake up after that, I don't know what will. You're probably nothing, I would say at this point. But chances are, if that's the case, probably not watching the show anyway. So, yeah, so that's a good reminder. Don't listen to the doctors. They basically are just regurgitating whatever it is that their sponsors are telling them, to do, even today. Like, I used to get samples from my doctor because he knew I didn't have a lot of money. So I would give me sample packs, and I never took them. I'm not a pill popper. Never took them. I had a whole garbage bag full of these samples that I gave to somebody else. And then sure enough, a couple of years later, it got recalled. Oh, extremely dangerous, this drug that he was giving me. Sure glad I didn't take it. And I even asked him one day, I said, well, it was a good thing I didn't take those. I probably wouldn't be here today. And he nodded in agreement. So I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, so, oopsie, you can't trust them. I mean, by all means, if you're all smashed up and you're in a car accident, you got to go and see the doctor. But anything else, I would say stay away. Yeah, no, they yeah, no. So anyways, yeah. Oh, that's you.
Okay, back
Yeah. What
back to
else?
the. Let's finish up with the flat Earth thing here,
Yeah.
real quick.
Okay.
So I was thinking we'd come on and we talk a little bit about the flat Earth. These are some common flat Earth claims. Now, Nina,
Hmm.
you want to be the round earther, and I'll be the flat earther.
Okay.
Okay, I thought this would be a little fun exercise. Okay, the world is flat. Nina, the world is flat. The horizon always looks flat. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
look out over the ocean and you see from a plane, the horizon doesn't visibly curve, so the Earth must be flat.
Which is true. I mean, it does look, it does look flat. I mean, there's no argument there. It's just that if you're going to go with my theory, it's that, yes, in that little area that we're penned in, which it sounds like it's big, but it's not really in the big scheme of it. The area is not that big. And in that area that we're in, that you're measuring right now, yes, it's flat because you haven't gotten to the curve yet.
That's right. Okay,
Yet.
so next one. Nina, we never feel the Earth spinning at that 1,000 miles per hour. If Earth rotated that fast at the equator, we'd feel the movement of the wind or some centrifugal forces in effect, wouldn't we?
Well, that's another good one. I mean, yeah, I don't have any answer on that. I mean, why is it that we don't feel a spinning? Those are questions that I still have, whether or not this is true. Are we spinning?
Good question.
You know
Scientists
what I mean?
tell you we are.
I mean, if you took one of these globes, and you had water on there and you span it around, wouldn't that water just go all over the place and it would just be a huge mess? I mean,
It
you know what
was
I mean? So those are valid questions. You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Next one. Airplane flights paths don't match the globe, but some people claim that certain long haul routes make more sense on a flat map, like flights across the southern hemisphere, which is true. Have you ever seen a flat map? The planes, they're all curvy like, but if you put it on a flat map, they're straight. Why
Yeah.
is that?
That is because of the theory that I have. Because they're just flying inside that little area on our globe. They're not flying from one end to the other in the globe. They're only flying from one to the other inside the little ice wall that we're inside. That's why. That's why I'm saying I think we're both right. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, next one. Nina, no real pictures of Earths from space. NASA uses composite pieces or edited images, so there are no authentic photos of the Earth globe.
I don't think they're able to get up there far enough to take pictures. There's so much radiation up there. That's what I'm saying. Like, even just the little flights that we're taking, there's so much radiation. Like, it's not worth it. Like, if you knew how much radiation that you're actually getting into your body by doing that. So I don't think they can get up high enough in order to take proper photos, honestly.
That could be. Okay, next. This is an easy one. Nina, water always finds its level. If the oceans would not bend around a spear, then the water would just spill off. It could not, water wouldn't curve. It would just, spill off the top of the cup, would it not?
Right, right.
Huh.
What was the question there, though? What was the question?
Water always finds its level.
Oh,
Like
I see.
if you put water in a cup, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You just can't put it on a round surface. If I had a basketball here, you couldn't put it on a basketball; it'd run off, right? It
Right.
has to be level. It sits on the ground
So
level.
that's why it's sitting inside the ice wall. That's flat. It's a round disc flat, and the water is flat. Everything you were seeing is flat. It makes sense. So this is why it makes sense to me. Because their measurements, they do sound logical, of what I've seen. So this is why
Oh,
I've been so confused. It's like, well, is it flat? Is it right? You know what I mean? Like, because we all have been. We all have been thinking it. It's just that we push that flat thing away because no, it just can't be. You know what I mean? It's just going too far. But if you know, have the theory that I have that we're inside the ice wall, then it makes perfect sense. So prove me
Yep.
wrong. Put it in the comments.
I thought that was a little fun one, but if you want to
Yeah.
know, let's go back in time and what they thought, how they thought Earth was flat. Pretty much most of the ancient cultures, sailors and travelers, farmers, everyone saw a flat horizon with no visible curve, so they assumed the Earth was flat. Made sense, right? With the naked eye, you really couldn't. The Greeks, they were smart people. The Babylonians and the Egyptians, they believed that there was land as far as you could walk. No one ever reported falling off the Earth, so they concluded that the Earth was a flat plane and just went on forever. Because they couldn't do the really long distance travel, I guess. We go back to the Mesopotamians and the Hebrews. This is in BC time, 2,000 years ago. They saw shadows fall straight, and the sun moved across the sky in a simple arc. And they interpreted it because the sun comes up in the arc and it hits the dome and it goes down. Same with the moon. It comes up and goes down. So it must be a dome, right? I guess that's an easy way to figure it out. The Greeks and Pythagoras, 1000 BC, the star spun around the North Star like a big dome and looked like the Earth was stationary and flat under it. Yeah, so kind of like, have you ever gone to a planetarium? Have you ever gone to a planetarium?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you go in there and you sit down and it looks like the whole ceiling and you can see all the stars and it's like a domed room.
I know this is just coming to me now. I haven't really thought about that dome thing too much, but there is something to that whole thing. Now, who's to say that these our creators didn't create some kind of dome over our little area here? And maybe it may be to protect so that we don't take off, like, you know what I mean? So we can't get past the dome, because that is another thing. The firmament is another word for it. The Christians call it firmament. We call it a dome. I've seen a lot of evidence that, there's something to that. And I wouldn't be surprised that they did put a little dome over us so that we couldn't just take off that way, because we can't get through the ice wall and they don't want us getting out that way either. And we're stuck here, in our little penned-in area here. So that's quite possible that is there, put there by them. And maybe everything that we're seeing up in the sky might all just be artificial. It might just be, we're sitting inside a planetarium right now. We think that we're looking at this vast space, but really maybe it's just a light show that they're putting on for us or something. Who knows?
Okay, let's talk about the kooks. The ones who thought the Earth, that thought the Earth was round. Pythagoras, he's a smart guy. And in 500 BC, he saw the Earth's shadow on the moon during this lunar eclipse. And it was always round. Only a sphere always casts a round shadow. Now, I guess that makes sense, right? I guess if you're living back in those days. Okay, well, you know what happened to Pythagoras. Anyway, Aristotle, he's another famous Greek guy. 350 BC, he observed ships disappearing hull first over the horizon. He noticed travelers going south could see stars not visible in the north. And then he concluded that only a curved surface could explain both. Well, I guess, that's a good science there, don't you think? If Ethetheos measured the Earth's size perfectly. In 240 BC, he's getting smarter. He measured the angle of the sun at two different cities, Alexandria and Syene, on the same day. With simple geometry, he calculated Earth's circumference, and he got it within 1 to 2% of the modern values. Conclusion, the Earth is definitely a sphere. Okay, so that's how he did it. So that's thinking outside the box, I guess. Let's go back to the Phoenicians. Early sailors saw new stars changing in the horizons. The Phoenicians, the Greeks, and the Arabs, and of course, those were all seafaring people. 1000 BC to 1000 AD, they traveled the night sky, and that the sky changed. New stars appeared or disappeared. Also, tall objects like mountains slowly rose from the horizon, and a conclusion: Earth must be curved. Now, the mountains rising and horizon. I don't know if you haven't been to Colorado, but I drove to Colorado once, and you can see the mountains, and you go and you drive and you drive and you drive, and it's so flat, and there's the mountains, and they just seem to rise up as you get closer. So I guess that's a good conclusion, isn't it? Our world must be round.
And there's, of course, a lot of disinformation out there. There's this one guy that claims that the Earth is pear-shaped, and there's a few other kooks, speaking of kooks, out there that, and so they'll throw that out there in order to really confuse us, right? So that we don't figure this out. But as of right now, this is what I think it is. To me, it just makes more sense. And until I find evidence of otherwise, something else, this is what I'm going with as of right now. So I'd be curious to hear what you guys have, what ideas you have. Put it down in the comment section. Also, let us know, ideas of shows that you would like us to do. You know what I mean? Email us, you know what I mean, with ideas of shows coming up here in the new year. We have next week, actually, we got a really good guest on. We got Jeffrey Doherty coming on with us. That's going to be interesting. For those of you who don't know who he is, he got kicked off YouTube, of course, 5 years ago with all the other people out there. And so he's been gone for a while. So, join us next Sunday. We're going to have Jeff on. I'm curious to see what he's been up to. And, we got some good shows coming up. So
Nina, take some notes, because Jeff is really quick on his feet. And
that's why you're going to be there with me. I don't want to be there alone with him. No.
Oh, he is. I hate to say he's
I know. If you think that I'm harsh, with my words, oh boy, he'll guarantee he'll trigger you for sure. He triggers me. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But it's, it's all good fun. I mean, you know what I mean? We gotta stop letting people trigger. It just, you gotta continue on listening, because there's gonna be something good there. There's some, we gotta grow a thicker skin. You know what I mean? Because he'll trigger me too, but I know better. I'll just, slough that off and move on. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. He is a tough cookie for sure. So.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's super smart, and he knows his stuff.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you bring up stuff,
Yeah.
And because what happens is somebody will say something, and it's not right because they didn't do their homework, and then he has to school them.
Oh, he'll school you, all right. Oh, I know. He's a little harsh. He's a little on the harsh side, I gotta admit. But there's some good stuff there. Like you said, he's smart. He knows his stuff, and he's cocky, I guess, because of that. It's kind of what happens with our egos and everything. But
yes.
Yeah,
we got to be on our best game. I tell you that.
We'll have to be.
Or he'll eat us up and spit us out for breakfast. There we are.
Well, he's known. He was known as, before he sort of changed his logo now, which we're going to talk about on the show. But he was known as the Christian whistleblower. So he was a minister. I mean, he was heavy duty into that whole Christian thing, and now he's hard on to prove it wrong. So.
He used to do a show with Wayne called Not Your Normal Sunday Morning.
Yeah, they used to do something, another Sunday show or a different Sunday show, something like that.
Not your normal Sunday morning.
Not your normal Sunday. That's what it was, on Sunday morning. And I was working night shift at the time, so that worked out really well for me. I just gotten off work, and boom, they were going live, so it worked out really well for me. And that's how I met both of those guys. Was a Sunday show that they did together. Yeah. So, so that's going to be really good. So stay tuned for that, everybody. If you haven't subscribed, do, okay? Because there's a lot of good stuff coming up. And if I trigger you, just swallow it and just come back anyways, because there might be something next time that you're gonna be like, oh man, I'm glad I did miss this. You know what I mean? So tell all your friends to subscribe again if they have unsubscribed, because a lot of people probably have over the years, I'm sure. So yeah, I love their Sunday show too. It's always something different, right? It was in the morning, because usually church is in the morning. That's why they did it that way. So it was, I'd rather watch that than anything else. So
No, Nina, you turned off
really,
the hallelujahs and turned on the Godspell show.
Give me 10% now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no thanks. But yeah. Well, thanks everybody for showing up, for watching, whether you were here live. It's always nice to see your, I was going to say face, but I don't see your face. I see your names, I guess. Nice to see your names in here, but thank you for those who are watching the replay as well. Make sure to follow us on all the different platforms. I got all the links to all the platforms that I'm on down in the description. There'll be more information about the Black Friday special deal as well. Just email me if you have any questions. And stay tuned for next week. What do you got coming up for us there, Robert?
No, don't worry. Tuesday night, we got the Native American Myths and Legends show, just like it says on the cup, with the best storyteller on YouTube, David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. He'll be back telling a great story. And join me. I'm going to have some great information about some Western hero or trapper, Indian tale, somewhere along the line. It'll be really good and interesting. Get your history all packed up in one show.
There you go. I was going to say, it's a different show than what we normally do, because we quite often will get into topics that might not be as popular. But that show there, you can't go wrong. There's not going to be any conspiracy in there. It's basically a history lesson, really, and then you got a great chat going on. So join Robert and them in the chat on Tuesday evening. It's at 7 o'clock my time. 10 o'clock Eastern, I guess. It's a little bit on the late side, but if you're up, join him over there. I should have his link to his channel in the description down below, so make sure you go and subscribe over there, and then check out our show we did last night. That was a great show as well. A lot of good information in there, and I know it's Thanksgiving long weekend, and people are busy, but go and binge watch all that stuff, all the shows that we've done. There's so much good stuff out there that we've done, honestly. You know what I mean? Not to toot my horn, but we have. There's a lot of shows, a lot of good information.
We really brought up some good topics with that Tesla stuff. And don't worry, next Saturday we'll be hitting part 2 of Tesla and some other cool, we kind of skimmed through a lot of that stuff, but I'm going to dig deep into certain things. We really hit the part where, he died and who actually picked up his papers, and it wasn't the FBI.
We were talking after the show, and we dug up a whole bunch, or you did. You dug up a bunch of stuff that, there's definitely another show of material there that we could use and basically set things straight. Because the thing about these shows and the internet and everything, people are just regurgitating the same stuff. And turns out most of it is not even true. It's not until you actually start looking in, and it doesn't take that long either to find out that it's not true. But I'm guilty of it too, because we were both saying that, some things. I'm not going to give away the thing, but join us next Saturday for the part 2. Yeah,
that's right. People say one thing over and over and over, and pretty soon it's everywhere, and nobody knows which is the truth. It's just a big tall tale until but the truth is out there. You just have to start digging for it. You
just got to look. I know. And this is the thing. It's almost like if enough people say it, it must be true. You know what I mean? Because why would everybody say it if it wasn't? It turns out everybody thinks that way, and we're all regurgitating the same nonsense. And nobody has time for that. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for spending your time here. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the thumbs up. Share this out if you don't mind. This might be a show that may people think, you know what I mean? Both flat and round globe people might, stop and think for a minute. Maybe, could it be that we're actually trapped inside an ice wall here? And it could be domed over. So all of that is true. Like everything is true. It's just not quite the way that we thought it was. So something to ponder on, everybody. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hit the share, hit the like, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.